Today on the Saturday edition of the Ave Podcast. My name is Cal C, as you may know, and I am here. Sorry about the break. Just for full transparency, I'll just say that, family first. That's basically what I'll say for that. We basically lost an important family member. Rest in peace to my father-in-law who passed away last month, and just been kind of dealing with that with the family. And shout out to my wife, and shout out to her clan, her family, especially her sisters. And, this is last couple of years has just been really interesting, man. Just losing a lot of people. And I know I'm not alone in that, or we're not alone in that. A lot of people have lost a lot of people in these last couple of years, especially during and coming out of this COVID period. So it's just one of those things that we've had to deal with. So we're back recording shows right now. So I had to take a bit of a hiatus, an unexpected hiatus, but we're back here. We're talking NFL. The playoffs are here today. It's a Saturday edition. And I'm joined by my frequent guest on the show, friends of the podcast, Roger Calendar, and coach and former CIS All-Star Carrie Joseph, as we discuss all the playoff games that's coming up this weekend, today and right through Monday night, as well as discussing if Cincinnati really deserved to make it. We discussed some of the rookie class. We discussed the fiasco of the coaching situation in New England, and much, much, much more, man. We dived all the way on this one. I hope you enjoy, and thank you for the support as always. South Sharav is available wherever you listen to podcasts. Hit the like and subscribe buttons. Make sure you go to the catalog over at southsharav.com. Make sure you hit those 5 stars for me, please, and thank you. And we're here. We're back, man. I'm excited. In spite of everything that's happened, I am excited to get back at this, and let's go, man. I don't want to hold this up. Let's go right now. It's the Ave Podcast with Cal C on South Sharav Radio. Rest in peace to Audley. Let's go.
Welcome to the Ave Podcast with Cal C on South Sharav Radio.
Welcome to the Ave Podcast. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Ave Podcast, where I'm joined by, we're trying to make this an annual tradition now, where the playoffs are here. I'm joined by friends of the podcast, Carrie Joseph and Roger Calendar. How you guys doing today?
Not too bad, Kelsey. Not too bad.
Good. I mean, I know we're recording kind of late, but this is your season now. You should sound a little more excited, especially you, Roger. You should be sounding a little more excited that the playoffs is
here. Yeah. Well, you know what? We got a good stack of games coming up this weekend, so I'm definitely happy about that.
We really do.
But I mean,
we really do.
Yeah. But I mean, all in all, sorry, go ahead, Carrie.
No, let's go, man. It's going to be hype.
Yeah.
All the games are going to be good.
Yeah,
it should be a very competitive weekend, so that's good. Whenever I watch good football, I'm happy. That's usually how it goes.
And it looks like we're gonna get a shit full of them this weekend for sure. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, right? Like it's looking like it's gonna be a hell of a weekend full of games, I should say.
Listen, man, that's Christmas for me, guy. That's Christmas for me, and it's a nightmare for my wife. Straight up. Like, don't ask me to move Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Yo, my wife is gonna lose her shit. I haven't even told her yet, man. I don't even tell her. I just kind of at some point I sneak downstairs into the basement. Exactly. And then she's like, "Where are you? What are you doing?" Just watching some TV.
Yeah,
the playoffs. Yeah, that's all you have to say. It's the playoffs.
The wife knows too, man. It's playoffs. Once it's playoffs, she just kind of generally leaves me alone. I've explained it well enough that she knows, like, okay, playoffs, all right, I'll leave you alone. Or playoffs or Game 7. When I'm like, it's Game 7, she's like, all right, fine. It's freaking Game 7.
Yeah.
But, before we get into those playoff games, though, I mean, there was, the season ended for few teams and a few coaches But before we even get into like Coach Mayo and the Patriots, should we feel sorry for Cincinnati? The fact that they didn't make the playoffs?
No.
Absolutely not.
Right?
They brought this shit on themselves. Come on, man.
You know what they remind me of? They're like, and this is something I tell my daughter now who just started high school this year. And I tell her, I'm like, you don't want to be the student that's cramming at the last minute. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be the kid that's basically organized and taking care of your readings and stuff and making sure you're studying, every day, reading a chapter. If you have a book, read a chapter or knock off a couple each day so that you're not cramming when everything is due. You know what I mean? Especially an exam or a test or a project. You want to make sure you leave yourself enough room that you can, there's a margin for error. You're not having to cram the last minute. And I feel like for Cincinnati the last few years, they're the kings of cram. They're like,
they're cramming for the test.
It's nuts, man. It's nuts. And this year it bit him in the ass.
Yeah, they start too late.
It bit him in the ass.
Listen, man, there's very few guarantees in life. Death, you gotta pay taxes, and most likely Cincinnati is gonna start off slow. Every single year. You could actually put money on it. I don't know what it is with Cincinnati, but every year at the start of the year, they always start off slow.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to figure stuff out, which is crazy because they have such an explosive offense. Their defense, I have to admit, wasn't the greatest this year, but they kind of picked it up towards the end of the year. I mean, they have one of the sack leaders there. I think what's his name, Hendrickson or Hendricks?
Hendricks.
Yeah, this guy had like 13 or 14 sacks this year. Like
14.
Yeah, he's balling. Yet the defense still gives out a ton of points. But I mean,
they're suffering from guys walking out the last couple of years. They let a lot of good defensive players walk. It's hard to replace guys like that. Like DJ Reader is a beast. Jesse Bates was a beast. Like these are like tops.
And they haven't done a good enough job
of replacing them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like.
Yeah.
So the Burrow has to be
because he got fired now too, right? I think he got fired today.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. I don't know if it's his fault, man.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
They gotta do something. Someone's
head's got to roll. Someone's head's got to roll, man. That's how the business goes.
Yeah.
But you know what though, and I'm like, to me, this is the lesson to. I think the way the season ended is a lesson to this team going forward because. Like, they got to stop playing the fool because, especially with the regular season, this is potentially a Super Bowl contending team if they just get their shit right at the beginning of the year. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, and this is, I mean, and I think it's a little bit disrespectful to the game, and I mean just the game of sports in general, not just football. It's a little bit disrespectful because it's like you're taking shit for granted too. You know what I mean? Like,
do you think they come into the season like overconfident? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hype train,
maybe.
Believing in the hype train, and then they get punched in the mouth a couple times, and then they start to figure it out. It's weird.
It doesn't make any sense because one year that happens, okay, that's fine. But this is like the third or fourth year in a row that they've done this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
And I mean, they started off 4-8. They are 4-8. Even if they started off like 6-6 or 3-5, they would have made the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 4-8. Like you can't come back from 4-8. That's crazy. You know what I mean? And to me, I'm like, it's sports and it's football because I'm like, the reason why I'm saying is disrespectful is because I'm like they're wasting prime years of Burrows and Jamar Chase, even though Jamar Chase is young.
Great.
And T. Higgins, and like they're wasting these guys' prime, like by doing this. Like these guys could be getting, like be contending for like with Kansas City for like the AFC Championship the last couple of years. Had they just got their shit right in the regular season, at least early in the regular season. Like this is football. One injury can change the course of the franchise. You know what I mean? It's football. You know what I mean? It's already happened. Like Burrow's missed time. Like he had his arm injury I remember last year. I forgot. Some nerve damage or whatever. Like, you just don't know. And, I mean, and this year, honestly speaking, that guy, if the team was actually, 3 or 4 more wins, like, he's right there with Jackson and Allen for MVP conversation. He might win it. Like, his stats are better than those guys.
Yeah, it's true. He's the best losing quarterback in the NFL right now. Like, honestly, and just the way that they lose sometimes is just crazy. Like, was it that were they playing Baltimore when Jamar Chase literally put up, like, I think he put up 175 yards and he had like 3 touchdowns.
275 yards. Wasn't it something like 200 something yards? Yeah, it
was crazy, and they still ended up losing.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? How was that even possible? 275 yards from one man. Like, nothing was stopping this guy. Nothing. I felt like the DBs just kind of decided to go on lunch. Yeah, they just gave up. This guy was running wild, and they still lost. And there was quite a few games like that, too, where it was high-scoring games. Their defense could not hold anybody.
Yep.
They were just like an open sleeve that everybody would just go and score points on them. But I mean, every year
have a quarterback. They have a quarterback that's leading the league in passing yards and touchdowns, and they have a receiver that's led the league. Doesn't he have the Triple Crown?
He has a Triple Crown.
I think he does.
The most catches, the most yards, the most touchdowns, and those 2 guys aren't in the playoffs.
Wild. It's wild.
And Higgins.
It is wild.
And
Higgins, yeah. Higgins just had like 3 touchdowns. When was it? I think was it last game or the game before that? Like, he was going off. And there's no guarantee that he's actually going to be back on the team either.
He's not
because now they have to pay Jamar Chase and they have to pay T. Higgins at the same time. And that's not going to happen. Exactly. They cannot pay both. So it's like, this was the golden opportunity. Like, these past couple of years was the golden opportunity for them to go into the playoffs and actually do some damage. And every year it's the same shit with these guys, man. Every year it's the same shit with these guys. It's crazy.
No, it's disgusting. Yeah, I'm looking at Burrow's stats. Like I said again, like this guy is like a few more wins. This guy's the MVP. Like, his stats are.
This is my thing, though. Do you make a change at head coach? Isn't that the head coach's job to get you over the hump?
Yeah, it's a good question, because he's a good coach, but there's no excuse at this point for starting the season so bad every year.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, I can't even pinpoint what exactly is the problem with them, because it's like every year they start off slow, but then all of a sudden it's like a light goes on, and towards the middle of the season they start beating up on teams.
Yeah, they play better in desperation mode.
They do, 100%. So I mean, how do you, like? I don't even know. How do you correct that? How do you correct that? Like, I don't know, man. I mean, you could try getting rid of the coach, but I don't know. You might destroy the chemistry that they already have in regards to when they start winning.
That's
like,
the
you
problem,
don't,
because he obviously, this coach has a good rapport with Burrow. They're lighting stuff up, but there's something going on. They need to identify.
Yeah, they need to figure it out, man.
The
defense is a good. Yeah, defense is a good place to start. They need some pieces. They definitely need some pieces on defense.
Well, they're gonna have to roll up the freaking Brinks truck for Chase first.
I know this guy.
They should have just paid him last year. Like,
man,
it makes no sense.
Because now he might be. What do you think he's gonna get on the open market now, or at least now? Like, what is he gonna ask for now? I mean, the fact that he got a triple crown, I don't know who the top. Actually, it's Jefferson that's making the most, right? Like 37 mil.
35. I think 35 or 36.
36?
He's gonna be like the first $40 million.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. Think so too.
Triple crown on the.
So you're paying a quarterback and your receiver like almost
$100 million.
$100 million.
65% of your freaking salary.
It's fucking crazy. One wide receiver, and then you have guys like Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry that are making like $10 million a year, $10 to $12 million a year. Like, how does this make any fucking sense, man? How does this make any fucking sense? Fucking Saquon and Derrick, and then Derrick Henry, they have like 15, 16 touchdowns apiece and 2,000 yards. And I think Henry was getting paid $12 million, and I think Saquon was getting paid like $10 or $11 million.
No, he was like he was getting paid more than Henry for sure.
Yeah,
he's like close to 15. He's 14. 14, 15.
Still low.
Yeah.
It's
Oh yeah.
Well, for running, it's low, but for running backs, because McCaffrey's what, 20?
Yeah. Yeah, or he's close to 20.
Close to
I don't
20,
know it
18,
offhand,
19,
yeah.
18, 19. Saquon's at 15.
So Saquon is actually he's making roughly around $14 million, and there's $750,000 worth of incentives. He's making roughly around 14 million.
Yeah, and he hit all the incentives.
He blew all the incentives out of the water. Yeah, but I mean, just the fact that we're gonna have a $40 million wide receiver probably next year, and you have these guys that are basically carrying their offense, and they're making 1/3 of that, or even 1/4 of that. It's crazy.
Saquon for MVP.
I was gonna say, I think Saquon broke all the incentives when he hurdled the guy backwards earlier in the year.
My God. Yeah, it's wild.
But you're right. Yeah, I think McCaffrey. I'm looking at the list. McCaffrey's making 19, followed by Jonathan Taylor, who's making 14.
Oh, Jonathan Taylor. He's looking good again.
Wow. He looked really good towards the end of the season. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's crazy. So speaking of coaches, you think Mayo should coach the Bengals? should we feel sorry for Jerod Mayo and Roger?
I feel sorry for Jerod Mayo.
You feel sorry for him, or you don't feel sorry for him?
Yeah, I do. No, I feel to not give him more than a year after you give him a terrible team.
I know.
Like, what was the point in the first place? You just didn't have anybody to hire, so you just hire him just to get you through a year, and then you fire him. Like, how do you not give that guy? Like, an owner, you're making an investment. You're choosing a guy that's gonna help grow your program. How do you just give him 1 year? Listen, unless there's a circumstance where, like Urban Meyer, where he's like going off and acting unruly, you know what I mean? Okay, fire that guy. 1 year, done.
Yeah.
You know, but
when he's kicking kickers, unless he's kicking kickers, then yeah.
You know,
Kicking kickers.
Telling his coaches they're losers.
Yeah.
Like, what?
That was a shit show. Yeah.
Hiring the racist trainer.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Oh my God!
I forgot about that.
I forgot about that.
Into an NFL locker room.
Oh my God, that was such a shit show.
Come on, buddy. Come on.
Read the room, guy. Read the
room. But you know, with Mayo though, it's like I don't know how to feel because, I mean, at first he was handpicked by Belichick and Robert Kraft because you remember they didn't even interview another coach. Right, like they didn't bring anybody else in the interview. They basically handpicked him to do it on the spot. So you're thinking, with that being said, he's gonna get at least a couple of years, 2-3 years minimum, at least.
Yes.
You know, like you're handpicking the guy. Like, okay, you're gonna give him the lay of the land for the next few years. So at least try to get this right. You know what I mean? So that's why. But then on the flip side, it's like. And this is the problem with hiring some of these young black coaches at the beginning of their careers. They don't get a chance to fuck up.
They don't.
And I hate that. Like I hate that for the NFL, man. Like that team to me that, you know, Mayo inherited is a definition of a rebuilding team. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like did Mayo make mistakes? It's his first time being a head coach of an NFL team. Did he make mistakes his first year? Like all coaches do, yes. Of course he did. You know what I mean? But like that team wasn't trying to win anytime soon. You know, you had Drake May who came in like halfway through the year. Like he was decent, but
he showed some promise.
Yeah,
he showed that he could be a franchise guy.
Mm.
They were competitive.
Yes.
I mean, they got blown out a couple of times because they're not good.
They weren't good. They don't have the talent. They haven't had the talent for the last couple of years. But go ahead. Yeah, sorry. You're the resident Patriots guy, Roger. So let me shut my mouth. Let me step aside. You go ahead.
So I have a similar but different take. Like, part of me feels really bad simply for the fact that I, being a black man, I feel like he did not get a fair shot because he inherited a roster that was absolutely horrible. And he had tremendous amount of pressure on him because he was basically following one of the greatest coaches that possibly ever lived, right? Yeah. So that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody.
Absolutely.
But on the same note, from a business perspective, I get why they fired him. And the reason I say that is because I watched every Patriot game, and there was some serious. The best way I could describe this team is they were chaotic. And when I say that, I mean they were chaotic in every facet of the game. Whether it be, I felt that the team wasn't prepared for the games that they were going into. The coaching staff made zero adjustments. There was a lack of discipline, like tons and tons of penalties. The defense went from being a top 5 to, I think 25th in ranking. And I get it. Bill Belichick is not there. I get that 100%. But to have that tremendous of a drop, like, I don't know, there was so many things. And then to top it off, his communications with the media was absolutely horrible. Mm. Like, he would say one thing and then the next day he would take it back. He's done that. He did that so many times. Like, the most recent one I can remember was him saying that Ramondre Stevenson, they were going to sit Ramondre Stevenson because this guy literally, he's fumbled like 4 or 5 times in a row in 5 different games, right. And he's lost 3 of them. And then the game starts, and guess who's starting? Ramondre Stevenson. It's like, what the hell's going on? Like, there was so many instances like that where I'm like sitting there and I'm like, why are you saying that? Like, he's throwing coaches under the bus, he's throwing players under the bus. Like, it's gone to the point where it's like the veterans, Keon White's coming out and he's saying there has to be a change. He doesn't know whether he's going to be there next year. And then there's the fans, they're booing him. They're literally booing and screaming "Fire Mayo" at the end of the last 3 games. And then the last game killed me because it's like, you guys need to lose in order to get the first number 1 pick. And I get it. You don't want to be the franchise that's purposely going to tank a game. But I don't know, man. It's like at the end of the game when they actually won, there was Patriots fans booing. You need to lose that game. You can tell Buffalo did not give a flying fuck, right? Buffalo's on the 30-yard line. Instead of kicking a field goal, they're punting the ball. Buffalo puts in Mike White in the 3rd quarter. This guy didn't have more than 20 yards passing for that whole quarter. Like, the whole offense just completely shut down. Like, it was so funny to watch because I'm like, Buffalo obviously does not want them to get the 1st round pick because they're basically purposely tanking the game. And then at the end of the game, they show a shot of the stadium. They show a shot of the stadium, and the stadium is at like 20% capacity, and the people that are there are all Buffalo fans, and they're all cheering. Like, I mean, from a business standpoint, I fucking get it because it's like, the players are complaining, like the media is killing this guy every time he says something. I'm looking on the news network, they're talking about, he's saying how the team is soft. All of a sudden, everybody's talking about how the team is soft. And he goes, they said something along the lines of, the most recent one was Giovanni Tobias basically chastising the fans, saying that the fans, what was his quote? He said something about because the fans were cheering Fire Mayo at the end of the Chargers game. Yeah. And then he basically comes out and he tells the fans to stay in their lane. That's what he said. It's like, come on, man. Like, when I put all those things together, I fucking get it. I get it. But I so wanted it to work out. Like, when he was named the coach, I was so proud because I was like, black man, he's getting a shot. But then
he was a stud linebacker. He
was a stud linebacker, yeah. But then also I started thinking, like, I started seeing who he surrounded himself with. Like, okay, he surrounded himself with the defensive coordinator was a first-time defensive coordinator. I can't remember if he was a safety coach previously, but all of a sudden he's calling plays. They bring in AVP as the offensive coordinator. He's been an OC for the Browns, but he's never called plays. Like, it was just I feel like if you're a rookie coach, you need to bring in guys with experience.
Yeah.
You need veterans. You need some sort of veteran experience there, and they didn't have it. They brought in Dante Hightower.
Yeah, it's almost like you can't
as a
be the
linebacker
smartest guy in
coach.
the room. It's almost like you can't be the smartest guy in the room as a rookie coach, at least not that first year or two.
You can't. And I felt like all those things led to the downfall of the team. That's literally how I feel. Like, I mean, I wanted him to work out, but at the end, man, it just got so bad. When you have veterans and players coming in and basically saying that you need a change, they're not talking about the players. They're talking about the coaches. Like, they're literally defensive players coming out and saying, yeah, we need a change. We can't keep going on like this. This is a business, stuff like that. I was like, okay, this is not feasible. And then I almost felt like when Vrabel made himself available.
Yeah,
it was like, I was gonna say, that's it. It was like, that's it. It's over. They were like, they barely waited for the game to finish. Like, the guys were still in the locker room changing when they came out and they said that this guy was fired.
Yeah.
Like, they wasted no time whatsoever. And I feel like that was kind of like the icing on the cake. It was like, we have the potential of getting Vrabel or even getting a Ben Johnson. Forget it. They're like, let's cash it all in, admit we made a mistake, and bam, let's try and hire somebody else.
And as a black coach, like the optics don't look great. You know, you're in the city of Boston, you're firing the black coach. You can bring in, a respected, white coach from, especially from that culture too. But I'm listening to Roger, and Roger kind of sounds like Carey. He's kind of like, I want to pull out my race card, but I'm keeping it in my back pocket.
Exactly.
I saw somebody. He's just I'm tucking that back in the wallet.
Yeah.
Behind the Costco card.
Yeah. If I saw any sort of progress from him and the team, I would probably feel differently. Mm-hmm. Like the perfect example I would say would be Bryce Young. Right?
Yeah.
Bryce Young and the Panthers.
I'm so happy for that guy, by the way.
I am ecstatic for him, and I'm ecstatic for that team.
Yeah.
Even though they still lost a ton of games, you could tell that the future is bright with these guys. Like Bryce Young, like the difference between Bryce Young at the beginning of the year and after he got benched is like night and day.
Confidence.
Yeah.
And you could tell, like, they just need a few pieces on defense and possibly another wide receiver. And these guys who could really compete.
Yeah.
I never expected the Patriots to win anything. I didn't think that they were going to make the playoffs. I knew that they were going to be probably like a 5-6 win team. I just watching how the team was being conducted and how they were losing the games, I think that's kind of what turned me off.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, sometimes they're competitive, like Buffalo. When they played Buffalo a few weeks ago, oh my God, the first 2 quarters, it was like,
I watched that first half.
Patriots are going to the playoffs. It's like, Patriots are going to the playoffs. Like, it was, you saw the potential of what they could be.
Yeah.
Even though they have a lousy O-line and their defense isn't playing up to how they should be. But you saw the potential. And then when they played the Chargers, it's like, what happened to that team last week?
Yeah.
They got steamrolled. And I think that's the problem. Like, the fan base, the media, everybody was looking at it and they're like, you know what? When the players start talking about leaving the team and saying how they might not be here next year because they might go to a different team, like, that's not good for business, man.
No, for sure.
And at the end of the day, it's a business. Like, when the fans stop going to the games, you have a serious issue, and you need to make changes.
But it's just weird that it's not like he was an outside guy. He's a guy that grew within the
organization.
And you have no type of clue of what kind of coach he's going to be.
Yeah, that too.
That's weird, man.
Handpicked. He was handpicked. That's the thing too.
I know, but the one thing I can say is Robert Kraft did come out and say when I don't know if you guys watched the press conference that he had yesterday. He basically he came out and he said one of the reasons why he made Mayo the head coach in waiting is because Mayo at the time was getting requests for other coaching positions. So he kind of, I guess, him being Robert Kraft being like he makes more emotional decisions than he makes business decisions. He kind of freaked out at the time, and he said, "You know what? We want to keep this guy here. I like this guy." Supposedly, they went on some sort of vacation to Israel or whatever it was, and he really liked his business sense because he's probably like I'd say the opposite of Belichick, whereas Belichick kept everything close to the vest and he tried to control everything. Mayo was more on the business side. He wanted to bring in guys that he could you know he basically could communicate with. He wanted to be open with the media. Like he's kind of the anti-Belichick in that sense, and I felt like they thought that was a fresh kind of like a it was like
start.
something different. It's something different that they haven't had for the past 25 years, right? It's like a breath of fresh air to them. And I think all those things kind of played into them hiring him.
Like, I thought when you said business, I thought you meant like he was just regurgitating like podcasts from Earn Your Leisure and trying to pitch business ideas.
Well, believe it or not,
he may get me some wins, but I like his stock advice. You know what I mean?
Mayo, believe it or not, Mayo, I believe he used to work. He was an executive working for, I think it was an insurance company. Like he's like a corporate guy, and I think that's more along the lines of what they wanted. Because Belichick basically controlled everything from the top to bottom.
Yeah.
Whether he controlled every aspect of the football team, right? And they want somebody that was a little bit more, I guess, collaborative, somebody who would work with people, who would get along with people,
right,
who wouldn't demand things. And I feel like, that was almost the reason why they put him in. But at the end of the day, I mean, my God, just what a shit show. Oh my God. And I feel for him. He's such a nice guy. But watching him sit down and do these press conferences,
he wasn't ready.
I was like, no. I was like, why are you saying that? Every time I watch him, I'm like, come on, dude, did you have to say that? I understand, at one point, you remember when somebody asked him about the players and their penalties and their offsides, and he said something like, we could only give them the tools, but then they have to go and use them or something like that. I'm like, dude, I know that's true, and anybody who's played football knows, yes, the players have to play, but you don't come out and say that. You don't say that. You
gotta fall in the sword.
You don't say it. Exactly, because everything falls back. Anyways, it was just one thing after another, and I feel for the guy because I like him, and I hope that he does get another role in the NFL somewhere, whether as a defensive coordinator or whatnot. But
he'll probably be a DC. He'll be a DC before he gets another shot. But it could have been, it might take him a couple of shots before he figures it out. It's got to be hard to follow a legend. The pressure.
Especially with Boston
maybe
media,
he'll find his
Boston media is. I'm sorry, man. Boston media is.
It's tough.
Not just Boston media. Boston media is tough, and Boston fans, a lot of them are racist. So I mean, before he even set foot on the football field, before he did anything, they were calling him a DEI hire, and they were saying how Robert Kraft is woke, and he's the only reason why. That's the only reason why he got the job, and he didn't earn it, and so on. It was like, just for that alone, I was like, you know what? I really, really hope this guy succeeds.
And that sucks too, because I mean, to me, it's tough because I mean, there's only 4 black coaches in the NFL. Is Mike McDonald? He's black, right? We're still considering him black.
Yeah.
Okay. So then there's 4.
1% rule. 1% rule.
We'll claim him.
Okay. So then there's 4. Then there's 4. But my thing is where's the Fritz Pollard Alliance, man? That's the organization that's supposed to be having a hand in cultivating these black execs and black coaches and stuff coming into the league. So it's like to see him, and then today, as of this recording, Antonio Pierce got fired from the similar situation with the Raiders. Even though he had an extra season, an extra half season or whatever it was. But to me, these guys, I'm just saying, when they're black coaches, they just don't get a chance to fuck up for long, and that's the part I don't like. You know what I mean? Although this year was a little unique because, as much as you hate to see rookie coaches go, I don't feel sorry for that Chicago coach. His ass needs to get the hell out of there.
No, he needed out of there.
No. He had to go.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. That was absolutely ridiculous. And then that presser after that Thanksgiving game was like probably even more ridiculous. And the fact that he didn't even call a timeout going back to that. Like that was when he got fired. When he got fired, I was like, man, so late.
Nobody was surprised by that. Like honestly, after that whole debacle with the timeouts, I was like, "Oh my god,
what the hell? Everything, man."
That was ridiculous.
That was so bad.
That was so bad.
So bad.
Before we get to the breakdown of the teams, though, I want to allude to a point that you made earlier about Bryce Young. Confidence is a major fucking component in life, man, because I was watching that game last week when they were playing Atlanta because Atlanta still had a chance to make the playoffs, right? Them and Tampa Bay their 2 games were simultaneously going on. It was going right to the end. And I'm just watching Bryce Young just make play after play after play against Atlanta. And at one point he made this throw, and I remember he looked back at the sidelines like he was like laughing, like yeah. And I love that for him because like last year everybody was ripping him, calling him a bust, especially the way C.J. Stroud played, and I didn't like that for him. You know what I mean? And then even earlier this year, like he got benched, right? So to see him now, it's like the confidence was just. It's just on a million. So I'm like, I love that for him. I love that for him, man. That was great to see.
But they took the right approach, right? Like he's struggling. Let him sit down. Let him just take a breath.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Watch from the sideline.
Yep.
Then, when you're ready and you feel, go back in there.
Yep.
It just needs to slow down for him, man. He was overwhelmed. He was playing overwhelmed. And
he
now
was, and rightfully. Yeah.
Some guys need to, not every quarterback can just start from a rookie and go through those trials and tribulation and fight through and continue to progress. Sometimes they need to sit down. Sometimes they shouldn't sit down. Like Mahomes didn't play a whole year.
It's true.
He played 1 game.
Yep. And it's towards the end of the season. I agree completely. I mean, he came in as
played 3 years, benched for 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt you, man.
And he's going to the Hall of Fame. First ballot, too. Regardless of what everybody thinks of him now. He's all first ballot Hall of Fame.
Of course he will. Of course he will.
But to your point, like I think we're just in that society now where everything is really it's beyond. I used to say before it's a microwave society. Now it's an AI chat GPT society. Like if it's not done like by next week, you're a bust, you're fired, you're shit, and it's like, bro, can I be a rookie? You know what I mean? Like you should be allowed to make mistakes. Like that's part of the job, right? You know what I mean? There's got to be there's almost no learning curve anymore. You know what I mean? Like
no, and it's really sad because when you think about it, if you put everything in perspective, these quarterbacks, like literally, he was the first pick, and usually the first, second, and third pick goes to the worst teams. You're not going to the best situation. Most likely, you're going to a team that's absolutely horrible, terrible, that's absolutely needs a quarterback. They've basically traded all their draft picks in order to draft a quarterback. If they're not low enough on the totem pole, so you put a rookie in a situation like that, and you expect him to produce.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not everybody is going to be like C.J. Stroud. Like C.J. Stroud, what happened to C.J. Stroud, in my eyes, is an anomaly. He had a first year that was absolutely spectacular. It doesn't always work out like that. Look at C.J. Stroud this year.
Yeah, but he's struggling a little bit this year.
He's struggling a little bit this year. And I mean, yes, there's injuries. Like, I mean, he lost Stephon Diggs, and then he also lost what's the name of the other wide receiver? Tank Dell. He lost Tank Dell.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
but
Nico Collins was injured for a little while.
It's also other NFL teams have a whole year of what he likes to do.
Yep, it's true.
And now they take it away, and now you got to adjust, right? Like he's having a hard time adjusting to.
Yeah. You do 100%.
They're going to take away what you do well, what you like, right? So.
Exactly. Well, but I love what Bryce is doing. Like last game, this guy threw like 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, beautiful.
Like, he's balling out with guys like Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen had 2 games ago, he had think it was 150 yards, and I think it was like 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's. It's not like he has the top tier guys like a Caleb Williams with Keenan Allen and DJ Moore.
Yeah.
Like he's literally has like guys that are most likely second or third string guys, and
rookies,
he's still balling out with them. Like that just shows you what kind of potential he has.
But
no, he has potential, man. Yeah.
But to me, what was great again is against Atlanta. Like Atlanta needed that victory. You know what I mean? Like they were trying to win that game. It wasn't like they shut it down and he was just going off on like the second or third string defense. Like they needed that W. You know, and they still didn't get it because they won, right? Like they still didn't get it. So that's it was awesome. It was awesome to see to see his production the second half of the year. So like only big things going forward for them now. Let's see what happens because the NFC South is. I mean, I love Tampa Bay. We're going to get to them in a moment, but like, it's not the toughest division. You know what I mean? So, like, one or two moves, and they can take it over too, especially with their youth. And you're paying you're paying Bryce Young on a rookie contract. Like, this is the time to start to stack up, right?
Yeah, and I agree. And I mean, you have other rookie quarterbacks that are basically balling out too. Like, look at Bo Nix. Look at Michael Penix. Like Michael Penix, his last 2 games were his last game was pretty phenomenal, and considering that he only started literally 2 games ago, like he played really, really well. I think the future in Atlanta is pretty bright as well. I feel like they need a few more pieces, and they could be very successful as well because they have a young quarterback that has potential. And I feel like as long as you have a young quarterback that has potential, you could bring in veterans.
Bijan is a beast. Man. This guy
he's a beast.
He's special, man. He has like the vision and the speed. Whew.
Yeah.
Like for a big guy, he's twitched up, man, and he doesn't take really big hits.
No.
He like I don't know. He reminds me of a more downhill Saquon. Like he's downhill. Like Saquon will bounce it and jump cut because he's a freak of nature. But Bijan is like a slasher.
Does he remind you? He reminds me a little bit. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he reminds me a little bit of Gurley.
Gurley?
Todd, remember Todd Gurley?
Yeah,
I remember. I can see that.
Yeah, he reminds me a little bit of him.
Yeah, he's a slasher. He's fast,
twitchy though.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right about that. You're right about that. He's more elusive for sure.
He has this thing, man, where he can, if you don't bottle him up, he's gone, man. Like down the goal line where he just like sucks people in and he just runs to the corner. Like he's fast.
Man's fast, yeah.
So no love for Kirk Cousins, huh? All right.
No, listen, they should have never. We were confused why they even made that move.
I know
it made no sense. It's the mystique of Kirk Cousins. I feel like this guy has some sort of, I don't know if he has some sort of son that follows him around, that just entices people to give him like the maximum money with the maximum guarantees. Like I can't explain this guy. Like the amount of money this guy has made in the NFL within the last 12 to 15 years is insane. Like it's insane. And every year they think that they're getting Kirk Cousins. Like
it's hard to blame Atlanta because we're going to spend money to make sure we have a veteran quarterback, and in the draft they had a chance to take a young quarterback and they took him. So that's the most important position. You have to get that right.
Right.
But where they were drafting, they were going to get a quarterback. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, why give? There's other veteran quarterbacks they could have brought in. Now they're going to have all this dead money.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Because you're not going to keep him. Cousins not going to stay there and be a backup.
Yep.
Someone else will give him money. Maybe not as much, but someone will pay him.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, the only one that's making money is Kirk Cousins. Like seriously. It's unbelievable. This man's ability to land on his feet constantly somebody needs to write a book about it. It's crazy. I compare him to who was the name of that quarterback, Calvin, that we always used to talk about?
Bradford.
Sam Bradford.
Yep.
Sam flippin' Bradford. This guy would always get paid. Always. He would literally play 2 games, get injured, get out the whole year. He'd leave the team and go and get maximum money with another team. He consistently did that for like 10 years. And I remember Calvin and I would talk about this guy every year. Oh my God. Like, I could not explain it. Why do they keep giving this guy money every single year? Guaranteed contracts. Like, I would pull my hair out, Kerry. I could not figure it out.
Yo, man,
and I feel
the
like
Eagles
Kirk
gave him
Cousins
enough money.
I know. And this guy literally lasts 3 games, and then, he tears his ACL.
Yeah.
3 games, and, he has a knee injury. 3 games, he flipping dislocated his shoulder. Like, it was unbelievable. And then he would go to another team, and he'd do the same thing all over again. Like,
he should be
crazy.
A sports agent. Honestly, like, I
really
hope that's
do.
his next career. He should be a sports agent if he's not one already, because... Like the amount of ways he's maximized the value of his own career, he could pass that knowledge along to somebody else.
His agent should be in the Hall of Fame, honestly. He should be in the Hall of Fame. This guy's pen should be in the Hall of Fame, honestly. Because I can't explain it. And I feel like that's Kirk Cousins. Like, he's going to leave this team. They still owe him a shitload of money. And they're going to have a shitload of dead money. And he's going to go to another team. And they're going to pay him another $40 million a year.
Oh, you know what? Because of the dead money, they might not have to pay him that much. I guess it depends if he gets traded or not.
Yeah. I think it depends on how much... Yeah, I think it also depends on how much they pay him up front as well. Because if they pay him up front, like if he's making $50 million and they pay him like 25 or 30 million up front, and he doesn't live through the life of his contract, then that ends up being dead money in the back end, because they try and space out how much they're paying him within the span of the contract. Exactly. So they will take a loss on it. But I mean, like I said, man, this guy's a legend. He's gonna go somewhere. He's gonna get picked up somewhere. I guarantee you.
Raiders.
Maybe Vegas will grab him,
Raiders.
Vegas. Yeah.
But like, how do the Raiders fire Pierce? Like,
I
Raiders
know.
is a shit show. They're a shit show.
Why not just give him a couple years, man, to implement his system, evaluate the players. They did. Their first round draft pick was a tight end. He's a stud tight end, but you need a quarterback. You have no quarterback.
Yeah.
You know he's not winning with this team.
Shador Sanders is coming in the draft.
Yeah.
His father wants him to go there. Right?
That'd be amazing.
You know, like at least that's the thing. As a head coach, especially when it's a rebuilding team, you want to be able to have a young quarterback, right? Like, at least like grow with, or at least be able to say, I want that guy. You know what I mean? Working out with the GM or the VP or whatever, but you want to be able to at least say, hey, I want that quarterback to at least work with while I'm here if I'm going to be rebuilding, right? So, I don't know what the Raiders are doing either.
Listen,
they need a quarterback.
They absolutely 1,000% need a quarterback. I think Shador Sanders is probably going to go to the Giants. That's what I think. I think if Deion Sanders has anything to say about it, I don't think he's going to go... Yeah, I don't think he's going to go to Tennessee. I don't think they're going to want Tennessee, and I don't think that they're going to want the Browns. No. So the next one in line is most likely going to be, the Giants. And I mean, the Giants have a lot of good pieces. Yeah. You know, they have a great quarterback. They have a great running back. They have Neighbors, who's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
They have. I feel like they've
pretty solid defense.
They haven't completely fixed. Yeah, they have a solid defense, and I feel like they haven't completely fixed the O-line. The O-line is 10 times better than it was when Daniels was there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a winning combination. Like, I think if Shador goes there, I think he could probably make some waves there, man. I mean, he's going to want a big city. Like, I don't think he's going to want to go to the Browns or Tennessee. No, he wants Vegas.
Deion's not letting his son go to Cleveland.
No way in hell is he going to Cleveland, guy.
Why wouldn't you want your son to be around Deshaun Watson? Come on, guys. What are you doing?
There you go. You go.
We should all want that.
Yeah.
We
He's
should.
thinking the Cowboys. He's thinking Vegas. He's thinking flipping New York, the
Yeah.
Giants,
Vegas would
not
be
the
cool.
Jets.
Vegas,
I could
Vegas would
see
be
that.
cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I could definitely see Vegas. I could see Vegas giving up the farm to, let's say, Cleveland in order to draft him. I could see that happening.
But who's going to
but
be
I
the
mean-
coach? That's now the question, right? Like, because like I said, I think he
Yeah.
wanted them to go to Vegas because of Pierce. He was telling Pierce that. So, so
I'm
who
just
knows?
shocked. I don't understand why you would fire Pierce. I don't understand. Like,
the Rays is a shit show, though, man. I mean, look at their past coaches: Josh McDaniels. What was the name of that other guy who ended up being a racist? Who made racist comments? What's his name? Gruden. Yes, sending emails, racist emails and stuff like that. Like, I feel like the Raiders they're always in some sort of chaos. Like, always in some sort of chaos. And I feel like it starts from the top down, honestly. So I don't know.
no, it definitely starts from the top down, man. That definitely is the problem.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see who the coach is going to matter too.
Yeah.
Definitely going to matter.
Yeah.
Well, with
There's
that,
some good coaches out there.
yeah, I guess we're gonna have to see what happens, man. But like I said, it sucks for Pierce though too, because I was disappointed. I might even say I was shocked. I was more disappointed that they let him go today. At least as of this.
I was a little shocked, man. I thought he was in there for, especially when they weren't aggressive in getting a quarterback. It's
Right.
almost like they were tanking on
Yeah.
they right.
We're with the
You're-
program.
I thought they were.
They're preparing
I thought they
for not this year, next year. So I just hate we just keep the seat warm while we find somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I absolutely can't stand that. I mean, I think Pierce probably, unfortunately, I think Pierce probably had a hand in him getting himself fired as well, because if he would have lost more games, they probably would have been able to get a quarterback. Like, they would have been like a top 3. But since they kind of won some of the games, I get it. You don't want to. I get it.
No,
but I'm just saying,
it's the GM's job and it's the owner's job to. If you want to tank, you have to get rid of players and do all that kind of stuff. But the coach has to coach to win the football game.
1,000%. I agree. You don't want to be that franchise that starts.
You just tank because you don't have a
games.
lot of talent, so you're gonna lose. But you can't coach to lose, man.
No. I agree. It was like a double-edged sword. I feel like either way he wasn't going to win. That's kind of how I feel. Like, he won enough games for him to not really be able to draft anybody, but then not enough games to actually save his job.
Right.
So he was kind of like in that gray area where it's like you don't really know what to do because he didn't have enough talent to actually win games, but he won enough of them that they're like the 8th or 9th pick in the draft.
But they're still in striking range. They could trade and move up.
They could.
Yeah.
You gotta be aggressive, man, if you want somebody. But there's a lot of conflicting things. Like, there's some people saying that Shador is a top 5, and there's some people say that their scouts don't think he's like a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
it's like very, very. There's up and I think he's a top 5 pick.
I think so too. I've watched him play. I've watched the Colorado games.
Yeah, he's tough, man, and he's a
tough.
passer.
Yeah, he is. He's a pocket. He's a legit pocket passer.
Yeah,
he throws with anticipation. He doesn't have a fantastic arm, but he has a good arm.
Yeah, he does have a good arm. Yeah,
and I mean, yeah, I do feel like around now is the time when everybody, and when I say everybody, I mean the media, they kind of pick people apart. Like, they'll pick apart the quarterbacks. I remember around the same time last year, it was like, Caleb Williams. They were talking about Caleb and how Caleb, he went and kissed his mother and he cried after a loss. They were talking about that, how he's soft. They talk about how Jaden Daniels, he takes too many hits and his arm isn't strong enough. And, he's a running quarterback. He's too thin. They talk about Drake May. Drake May's footwork wasn't good enough. Like, I feel like it's the crazy time when everybody's going to kind of like pick them apart, regardless of how good they are. So I mean, I don't really even take what they say too much with too much value because, I feel fair, like, man. Yeah, they try and push who they want to push. That's how I find it.
Yeah.
Look at Bo Nix, perfect example. They said that Bo Nix was
right coach, right system.
Exactly. And Bo Nix is the perfect example of that. They were saying this guy was like a third round draft pick, and they were shocked. They were shocked when Sean took him in, I think 10th or 11th. Yeah. And look at this guy, man. He's literally like within one season, the Broncos are in the playoffs.
Man, there's a conversation for the offensive rookie of the year now.
Yeah,
there is
for sure.
Legitimately, yeah. I know the flashy choice is Jaden Daniels, 100%. But I mean, Bo Nix he's
still better. I think he's still better than Bo Nix. He did have a good year, but you factor in Jaden Daniels' rushing yards, it's not close.
Yeah,
true.
And he has more touchdown throws.
But I do think that Daniels has the better supporting cast, like Scary Terry, phenomenal. Brian Robinson. Yeah. But still, yeah. Now, I think Jaden Daniels. I think he should win it, honestly.
But wait, I think Bo Nix is right Malik Neighbors.
Yeah,
and Bowers
Bowers set the record for receptions?
Yeah.
Over 1,200 yards from a tight end. 110 catches or 112, 12, 11, 111, 12 catches? Yeah. That's work, man.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be good, but who was throwing him the football?
Well, that's another thing, too. Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. Yeah.
Jeez.
Just a bunch of guys.
I mean, that's a conversation.
Yeah, legitimately. It's a legitimate conversation.
And because last podcast we were engraving Jaden Daniels' name in the award.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's true.
We're carving it out. We're just about to put the L and the S.
That's true. That's very, very true.
Now it's a whole thing now. But man, Neighbors is really nice, man. Jesus. That kid,
I'm shocked. I didn't think he was. I thought he was explosive, but that's a lot of work.
How about Ladd McConkey? Like seriously, this guy looks like he should be working in Costco. This guy had 1,200 yards, 82 catches, and I think he had 8 touchdowns on the Chargers, a team that wasn't even looking to throw the ball
that much.
Yeah, he's a very good slot receiver.
He's always open. He just finds those pockets where it's
he's a good route runner. Open. Yeah. Smart, knows how to sit in zones and move with the zone and get open. Yeah. And he's fast. He's a 4.4 guy, man.
He is. Yeah. He is a 4.4 guy, man. I'm still pissed at the Patriots. They had him right there in the second round. They had him. And instead, they traded with the Chargers. They traded 5 picks back, and they ended up taking Jalen Polk and the next round, Javon Baker. So they ended up getting a further second rounder and a third rounder. And what happened? Polk has 6 catches, 87 yards on the year. And Baker last week he caught his first football. Last week he had his first catch. Take the best guy, man. Stop trying to bounce around all over the place.
But that's the problem, though. Everybody's assessment of players is different.
I know.
But I'm with you. I would have definitely put McConkey. I thought McConkey was a definite first round.
So did I. I thought he was a first round pick. 100%. When I saw that we had him, I was like, yes, perfect. I was like, great. But I guess because we already have a slot receiver, I think maybe that factored in because they figured, we already have a slot. We need an X receiver. We need a wide receiver instead. What's the name? That little guy.
Douglas.
Yes, Douglas.
Darius Douglas.
Darius Douglas. Yeah. Darius. Yeah. Douglas. Yeah. I mean, he's not much. He's a third anywhere else, but on the Patriots, he's number one.
He's
Which is
like
actually
he's
really,
like the
really
Randy
sad.
Moss of the offense, basically.
He really is like the best of the worst, which is absolutely embarrassing when I say that out loud. But yes, that's exactly what it boils down to. He was like our best receiver last year. Yes, a a guy who's literally 5'9" It was our best receiver last year. So yeah. Anyways,
with that said, we'll quickly review the 6 playoff games before we wrap this up. But we'll start in a chronological order of all these games that are happening this weekend. So we'll start off with the Chargers and the Texans. What happened with the Texans the second half of the season? And also, I know we alluded to it earlier, but what happened to C.J. Stroud? Is it the Amber Rose curse?
It's definitely possible.
Something happened. I think it's a cross between injuries and teams just have tape on them. Like honestly,
because it's just as deadly as the Kardashian curse.
Most likely, yes, absolutely. I mean, what he had, I believe he had like 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions this year. He just was not playing well, man. He was just not playing well.
Also, the offensive line wasn't great.
Yeah. Injuries, as you mentioned, at wide receiver throughout the year. And like Mixon was great, though. Joe Mixon was great
fantastic.
This year. Oh, my God. He was amazing this year. I didn't think he was going to be playing that well. Like, holy cow, he was great.
Lots of the youth, man.
So we'll see if they can turn it around, but they could definitely beat. They're playing the Chargers?
Yeah, they're playing the Chargers.
They could beat the Chargers. The Chargers could beat them. That's a really good matchup.
It should be a really good game. Like I personally like the Chargers just because their defense, they have a top defense. And I feel like their offense they do enough to actually win. Like they can throw the ball. They have the potential to throw the ball. They run the ball.
They run the rock, yeah. And
they run the rock, Yeah.
Herbert's a stud, man. He's a top quarterback.
Yeah, who's never won a playoff game. So I mean, it's like that in itself is pretty unbelievable to me because I mean, I feel like he's up there in terms of stats, like for the past 5-6 years, but he's never won a playoff game. So I mean, I think they have the potential to win this one though. I think the Texans, I believe they lost their last 2 out of 3 games. They're kind of coming in and limping. I think the last one was against Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee is probably a bottom barrel team. So they beat them, but I mean, they're kind of limping into the playoffs. So it will be interesting to see what happens. But I like the Chargers. I like their overall team. I feel like they're just a very well-balanced team. And they needed that. Harbaugh came in there, and he just made them a well-balanced team.
And you know what? Shout out to Carrie because I remember earlier in the year you were calling for the Chargers to be a good team because of Jim Harbaugh. So I do remember that one. That was the one prediction I do remember. That was like you nailed that one, and I mean they won 11 games.
Kelsey's keeping receipts.
Yes.
I feel you.
Yes. For now,
I'll take my shine. Thank you.
For now, I'll call out the other ones too. Damn it! I just have to go through the rest of this episode. but honestly, I'm rooting. I'm not rooting, but I think the Chargers are going to win this one too because I look at the Texans. Obviously, they're limping going into the season, as we're mentioning. They had some bad losses this year. They had some bad losses this year. They lost to the Titans. They lost to the Jets. They only scored a safety on Christmas against the Ravens. And I looked this up. They're 2-5 versus winning teams this year. You know, and I think the Chargers are consistently just been looking like a better team throughout, like in comparison to the two teams. So I know that it's a road game for the Chargers, but I'm more trusting the Chargers to pull that out. I don't like how the Texans are looking this year. And I like Stroud. I like him a lot, but I'm not feeling.
Yeah, I like DeMeco Ryans.
I like DeMeco
Ryans. I love DeMeco Ryans.
Yeah,
big fan.
But
big fan.
Yeah, so that's what I got. Steelers versus Ravens. Are the Ravens going to piss me off this playoffs and possibly starting on Saturday night?
It's so scary. I don't know, man.
It's such a scary game. It's like that is like the scariest game all weekend because these teams are like Oh my God, there's such history with these two teams.
If there's any team that could beat Baltimore, it's Pittsburgh.
It's Pittsburgh. Exactly. You know, they're division rivals.
Yep.
They know how to play each other. Yep. They know their weaknesses. They know their strengths. Mm-hmm. It could go either way, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Baltimore's a better team.
100% has the better personnel, but it's like Pittsburgh's defense is just nasty.
Man. It's just Pittsburgh. It's gonna be a black and blue game, man.
Yeah, and Tomlin has them ready. And they're always prepared.
It's a playoff team versus a bloodthirsty rival. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
100%. 100%. I feel like even if the Steelers beat Baltimore and then go out and get swept the next game, I feel like they'd still consider that a win just because they knocked Baltimore out. Like they just two teams that absolutely hate each other.
Yeah.
So it's
like the Canadians if they meet the Bruins in the playoffs. They don't
the
win
Bruins, man, hell yeah,
or the Leafs. The Bruins, we good.
Or the Leafs.
Yeah. It's a bloodbath. It's just a knockout bloodbath, and I feel like this game is just going to be a battle. Like, I mean, Baltimore should win. You know, they have the better quarterback. They have the better running back. They have the better offensive line. I don't think they have a better defense. But I feel like in all, I feel like they have a better team.
They are playing better. They moved Kyle Hamilton from playing like nickel and up close to the line to playing like free safety.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And all the big shots just stopped because this dude's range and instincts and ball skills are like
insane. He's all over the
place. He
place.
might be the best overall safety in the league, man. The wingspan, he could do everything.
Yeah. He could hit, he could cover their best tight end. He could literally do everything.
Man, he's
a beast. Yeah, absolutely. I still think Baltimore should win, but I don't know, man. I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers won. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
It's scary. Mike Tomlin team, man, with that defense and Russ, who's been there, he's won a ring.
Yep. And you guys are forgetting that Baltimore, they like to get cute in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I agree.
They like to get cute, and it's always at the wrong time. You know what I mean?
I agree.
It's always at the wrong time, and this is why, to me, they piss me off because we had a chance to have 2,000-yard runners this year. But I thought the way, and it sounds crazy to say the way that they used Derrick Henry, because I looked at the stats today, and even I forgot he ran for over 1,900 yards this year.
Yeah, man, he was almost there.
But he easily could have had 2,000 yards. There was games where he ran like 7 times for the game and 8 times for the game, and I'm like, why are they using him like this? This doesn't make any sense. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe they're trying to like scale him for the playoffs. And if so, then he better get that ball like 20 to 25 times on Saturday, even against the defense.
100%.
Like it's the recipe to win.
The offense better be running through him like almost exclusively for this game. Like seriously, like it should just be running like crazy. I don't want to see Lamar Jackson trying to prove that he could win in the pocket with his arm. I don't want to see no cute shit. Just do what is necessary. Like I'm just tired of watching the Ravens get to this playoffs. Because last year, I mean, we discussed this ad nauseum last year. Remember, they pissed us off in that AFC Championship. Like they pissed everybody off. They pissed everybody off.
I had nightmares of that playoff game, and I'm not even a big Baltimore fan. I had nightmares of that game.
I was mad. I was pissed off.
I was so angry. I'm still angry just thinking about it. Like, they were right there. They had the best offense and the best defense in the league.
And they had a running game.
Lamar Jackson's,
and that's the thing.
I know.
They had a running game, too. They had, like, multiple backs, but the running game was not their problem last year. And then they ran away from it. And now you got Derrick Henry now. 1,921 yards. Okay, use this guy now.
Yeah, man, feed the beast. Like, that's why he's there.
Yeah.
He's going to make Lamar's life easier because if they try to stop him, then Lamar could go off. Like, that's the whole game plan. You want to stop Lamar, then King Henry will kill you. That's what they got to do.
Yeah.
It's simple, man. It's simple. But are they going to outthink themselves? Are they going to get caught up in the moment? It's scary because that's all we've seen.
It's scary. It's scary. It's Baltimore. They've let me down so many times. I'm like, I don't even want to get my hopes up.
I am so tempted. I am so tempted because you guys are picking the Ravens, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna just be the opposite. One of us has to pick the Steelers. I'm gonna pick the Steelers. I'm rooting for the Ravens, but I'm gonna pick the Steelers just because I just want to just throw a monkey wrench in this and just be a little different. But the Ravens should absolutely win this game, and honestly, they should win it by at least 10 points, just based on the overall talent and stuff that they have. But again, this is gonna be a bloodthirsty rival, and Tomlin knows this team inside out, and he has their number. So, I said,
he does, man.
Yeah,
he does.
So I'm gonna go out on a limb and pick the Steelers, but I expect the Ravens to win, but I'm picking the Steelers. So that's my answer.
All right.
Fair enough.
Broncos versus Bills. Should we be giving respect for the job that Sean Payton pulled off this season?
1,000%. How can we not? Rookie quarterback, and you see the team that they had last year?
I'm still hating on the fact of what he did to Russell Wilson last year. A big part of me is still like, F that guy. I know he did a great job, but I'm still like, F that guy. And I'm not even a Russell Wilson fan like that.
I didn't like that. Yeah, I still have big issues with that. 100%.
I'm very bitter.
If I put that aside, and if I look at his body of work for this year, like what he's done on that team has been phenomenal. Like the turnaround on that team is just crazy. And considering they basically traded away Jerry Jeudy, and Bo Nix is just like he's playing phenomenal. Their O-line, they have one of the best O-lines in the league. Yeah. Their defense is stingy. Like they have a great defense.
No, they have a great defense.
And I feel like Bo Nix, like a rookie quarterback who's playing the way he's playing, it's crazy to me. Like such a turnaround from last year.
But he's like a perfect example of a guy who's got a lot of snaps, a lot of game time in college.
Yep.
He's able to come in the NFL and like
he's not scared of them.
Like I watched a couple of their games. Like they're not putting it on him to like make all these throws, drop back and throw the ball. It's like they run the ball, play action, quick stuff, some trick plays. Like they ease him into games, and now you see him starting to take shots and like work the ball down the field. Like
he has chemistry with Sutton and what's the other guy's name? Marvin Mims.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they're playing phenomenal. Do I think they're going to beat the Bills? No, I don't think so. Because Josh Allen.
They could though. They could.
Because the defense is that good.
The defense is that good.
If the defense comes out and balls, Buffalo's defense is a weakness.
It is. They are definitely weaker this year. But I mean, they lost a lot of players last year. Yeah. They lost a lot of good players. So I mean,
don't get me wrong. I would love to see it. I would love to see it because in the AFC, man, you got 3 big time quarterbacks.
Yeah, and Josh Allen's one of them. And Josh Allen is a beast. But I would say though that I don't disagree with Carrie just because I'm like just looking at their weapons like with Buffalo. I'm not like what I mean. I think me and Roger, me and you were talking about this before, like at least when fantasy related. I'm like when it came to fantasy, I drafted Kincaid. I had Shakur on my team, and both of them gave me bupkis because at the end of the day, like honestly, the only 2 guys that gave you anything was Allen and Cook offensively.
Cook, yeah.
If you didn't have those 2 guys in fantasy, everybody else pretty much was useless.
You know, listen, they spread the ball around a lot.
Cook had a quiet yet good season. Like he had over 1,000 yards, over 16 touchdowns, which I didn't even realize until I was looking it up the other day. Yeah. Like I did not even know that. So they definitely found the running game.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen, he's like,
he spreads it around.
Oh yeah, I've never seen. Well, I can't say I've never, but it's very rare you see somebody who's that good that does so much with so much less than what they've had in previous years.
Mm-hmm.
Like he lost Stephon Diggs, and he's actually gotten better.
Yeah.
And it's not as and he's throwing to a bunch of nobodies. Like he's passing the ball around. He's running the ball better than I've ever seen him. He literally puts the game on his back. Like
no, he's the ultimate weapon, man. He is. Weapon.
Right now, I feel like he's the ultimate weapon.
And is he the MVP? Like, to me, this is where we find out who the MVP is.
I agree.
That's why it shouldn't be a regular season award. Like, let's see what he does. Like,
playoffs, yeah, I agree.
He might be the only guy to take on Patrick Mahomes.
I think so. I think he's one of the rare quarterbacks that actually can take on Patrick Mahomes. That could go stride for stride with Patrick Mahomes, even though I feel like his talent is a lot less. The talent around him is a lot less. The talent around him. Around him. Yeah, because I feel like Patrick Mahomes, like he has better pieces around him. I find.
He definitely does.
But I mean, Josh Allen he's unbelievable. Like I feel like he's gonna put that Superman cape on this season. This game in particular, I think he's gonna do it because Denver is phenomenal. Like they have a really good defense, but they struggle with running quarterbacks. That's what I find.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens because I know he's gonna have the ball a significant amount of time this weekend. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. It's possible. Denver could beat them 100%. I just want Allen. I'm greedy. I want Allen to win because I feel like the next set of matches will be bigger with him rather than seeing Denver go and get rolled over by.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't want to see that.
And you know who's thinking the same? Roger Goodell and Fox and CBS Sports and the rest of the media.
Man, I would still watch it.
I would too, but
I always watch.
But the ratings would be much better if Allen is doing it instead of Bo Nix.
I agree completely.
But I think we all agree. I think we all got the Bills basically, right?
Yeah,
I like the Bills. Yeah.
All right, this is Carrie's wheelhouse right now. Packers versus Eagles.
You know what it is.
Do we
fly? Eagles fly. Even if Hurts doesn't play.
Even if he doesn't play.
I don't know about that.
Now we getting crazy. We getting crazy right now.
I don't know about that. I was with you until you made that line. Like, this guy's still in concussion. Like, how has this guy been out for the past 2 weeks? How is he still in concussion protocol?
Did you see the hit?
Oh my God! I know. Yeah, I know.
And it was a hit that he didn't need to take at all. That's what's annoying about it.
I know.
He tried to get a couple extra, and that's what you get.
He pulled a Tua.
You get some extra rib sauce.
Yeah, he pulled a Tua. Yeah. He pulled a Tua basically.
Yeah,
let's be real.
Searching out contact.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's brutal. I still hope he plays. Like if he plays, I'd say 100% Eagles. I like the Eagles. I like what they do. I like Saquon Barkley. I love their defense now. Like I think they have all the tools to win. The wide receivers are great. They have no weaknesses. They have no weaknesses.
They're the deepest team in the NFL.
100%, absolutely. O-line,
I think they could beat the Packers without Jalen Hurts. I'm not saying they will, but it's not going to be like a blowout.
No, but the thing is, Jalen Hurts is so streaky. Like when he's on, he's on.
Yeah, he looks
Christian Watson went down last game, but he does such a good job of spreading the ball around. They're dangerous, man. The Packers are such a you never know what you're gonna get with the Packers. They're such a dangerous team. Like they could literally put up like 300, 400 yards on you, 4 or 5 touchdowns by spreading it ball. They could literally have every wide receiver catch a touchdown pass, and nobody would be surprised.
Yeah, and they're a top 10 defense too.
Yeah.
So
Roger, you met Love is streak, and not Hurts.
Sorry, I meant Love. Yeah. I apologize. Yeah, okay. I meant Love. Yeah, Love.
No, he can make big throws, but I think it's the key for them against the Eagles. The key against the Eagles defense is like you have to run on them. You have to force them out of their too high shell. Because they like to chill back there with two safeties, so you can't do anything over top, and then their D-line and linebackers are just so good.
Yeah.
That they just clean it up. You could still run on them, but it's like
it's hard. It's hard to run.
It's a grind, right? It's a grind.
With that said, Josh Jacob has been playing really well.
That's what I mean. He's a stud.
Stud.
If he goes off and can run, which I think like you can run on the Eagles, you can run on them because they're losing a man in the box because their safety is deep. Like you have to force them out of that. You have to take advantage. If you're going to put two safeties deep, we have to run the ball, at least get 4 yards of carry. If you can do that, the whole thing about the Eagles defense, it's like they want to force you into having to throw and deep. You could throw short and you can run the ball, but you have to do those things consistent over time. A lot of offenses aren't patient enough to take little gains.
Yeah.
Then you're going to try to throw it deep and
you have to
pick
chip
you
away
off or run the ball. And the Packers can do that, but also that quarterback, he just got hurt.
Yeah.
So is he going to be 100%? I don't know. And then he takes chances.
He does. He throws picks.
And against his defense, it's a little scary because we got guys who can take the ball away.
Yeah.
And we have pass rush. If you have to run the ball. You can't let the Eagles D-line just tee off and think it's just pass rush party, because that's when there's a problem, because Jalen Carter is a grown ass man for being 21 years old.
Is he only 21?
He's 22, 21. Like, he's young, man. And he's throwing dudes out the club.
And they got him as a steal too. That's the one they drafted. Like they got him at like the 10th, the 9th or 10th pick or something like that, right? Was it him? It was him.
Yeah, but
it was him.
It was him. He fell in the draft.
And they were laughing when they got him, basically.
No, he's on the trajectory to be one of the best interior defensive linemen in the league.
Yeah,
they keep finding them, man. They keep finding
he's smart, he's twitchy, and he's just grown man strength, man. He's getting double teamed and throwing dudes off of him, man. Like you can't coach that. That's what you wake up in the morning with.
Yep. It's true. It's true.
He's born that way, man.
That's that country strong. What is it? Yam and banana.
Yeah,
man. Like to say.
Yeah, man.
Country strong, man. No doubt. No doubt.
Just riding his strong neck back.
Mm-hmm.
You can just tell that man's strong.
Yeah, he's strong.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I like the Eagles, man. I do like the Eagles. I like the Eagles a lot more if Hurts plays. If he doesn't play,
no, it's scary.
I think
it evens it out, in my opinion. I think if Hurts plays, it's like it's not close.
So do I.
As long as Sirianni just doesn't do no bullshit, just
crazy
coach
shit.
Proper. Run the ball. Do what you've been doing all year. Defense, do what they do. You win the game. No fuckery. No stupid. Go for two and go. Fourth down. Take your points. Get your field goals. Play possession. It's the NFL. It's the playoffs. It's not. There's not a crazy plan you need to win football games.
I feel like Sirianni is a wild card more than any other player on the team. This guy just, I don't know. Sometimes he makes some decisions where it's like, what the hell are you doing? What are you thinking? Yeah. The guy gets a little crazy sometimes. But, I mean, all in all, I still think the Eagles should win. And if they don't win, I'd probably be pretty disappointed, to be honest with you.
No,
I feel like the playoffs would be better if they're in there.
They need to get past the Packers, man.
I mean, if they don't win, I don't know if we're getting Carey next week.
No, you're gonna get all of me.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna get abrasive Negro on here.
Aggressive.
That's funny. Next up, we got the Commanders versus the Buccaneers. Why was Mike Evans getting 8 yards the best thing I watched on football all year this year?
Yeah, man.
That was awesome.
That was dope.
I was so happy for this
That
guy.
was
I was
awesome.
so happy, and especially after Bucky Irvin scored that late touchdown.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, don't tell me this guy's going to be off by I think he was off by 7 yards or something.
Yeah. It was 5 yards,
I
actually.
was so disappointed. I think it was something, it was 5 yards. I was so disappointed. I was like, I don't know if they're going to get the ball back. But I was so happy when he got it. There's nobody that deserves it more than this guy.
Yeah, and it's just cool because that team went out of its way to make sure you get your money.
That was awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Once you saw him lining up on the field,
Cowboys, huh?
No, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, just then you have the Cowboys sitting Cooper Rush in the last game when he could have made $250,000.
So disappointing. Fucking Jerry, man.
And
now he's
greasy. And Jerry's claiming you didn't know.
Yeah, come on, man.
Such an asshole. And now he's talking about bringing coaches in, having them, instead of paying them a yearly salary, he wants to put them on an incentive-based payment structure or some bullshit like this. Fuck this guy, man. I'm tired of this guy. I'm so tired.
No,
of him.
I enjoy Jerry because he makes the Cowboys horrible. So as an Eagles fan, it's just keep doing what you're doing, player. Yeah, that's your team. You do what you want. Don't listen to
it's the curse
professionals and people who know what's going on.
It's the curse of Jimmy Johnson. Just bring Jimmy Johnson back. Not even as a coach. Just bring him back as like what they used to do with the Golden State or the Clippers of Jerry West. Just bring him as a consultant. Just bring him in. You can still do the Fox show on Sundays. Just bring him in as a consultant during the week, just to wash that curse off or something, man. Because dude, this is ridiculous now. And I mean, him being the GM, I think it's such a disservice to the team. And it's been like that for a while. But I'm it's such a disservice to the team. If I'm on the Cowboys team and I'm good, anytime there's holdouts, I'm gonna get my money. I'm fine.
Yeah, man. Listen, he acts like he's such a good negotiator, but everybody you negotiate with gets the most that they can get at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it screws up the rest of the team.
Always.
What is going on?
He makes horrible decisions. He will not. He knows that he needs to pay his quarterback. He'll wait until the very last moment to pay him, when he knows that the value is basically his value is sky high. It's the same thing with Mekhi Parsons. He's supposed to be getting paid next year. Jerry's gonna fuck that up somehow. Yeah. Watch.
No, he's gonna play it out. He's gonna drag it out because he only cares about people talking about Dallas, having Dallas in the news. And he's like, I got money, so he don't care. But you're handicapping your team's ability to get better if you don't get these guys paid early. Save a couple million here or there. Is that backup running back or that corner, that nickel, or that linebacker, the backup O lineman,
that you need.
All that stuff matters. Exactly. And he's oblivious to it.
It's unbelievable. He doesn't.
He's
care
not
about
signing
that.
his coach. Do you want your coach or not? You're not letting the coach get interviews, but you're not signing your coach. What are you doing, man?
Constant chaos. That is
Just
the Cowboys.
Keep doing what you're doing,
Constant
Jerry.
Chaos every single year. Every single year, guaranteed. Now it's going to be the Dak. What's going to happen with Dak? Now they have to pay. Now they have to pay Dak. Now they have to pay Parsons as well. They still don't have. I mean, the running back is okay.
No, he actually they found one there. He's actually
you think
pretty
so?
good. Yeah,
you think so?
I
don't know, man.
He's good. I'm not saying he's amazing, but dude, he rushed for 1,000 yards and he didn't play all the games.
Yeah, that's
true. That is true. That is a good point. That is a good point.
He did 1,000 yards in 10, 11 games, 12 games.
But I like Pollard. I thought Pollard. I like Pollard from last year. I just didn't think he was a workhorse.
No, he's not. He's a complimentary back. You have to have someone with.
He still ran for 1,000 yards himself this year too.
Yeah. But you need someone with him. You need someone with him. He's not going to be the lead guy.
I felt like him and Zeke, when Zeke was still actually good, like those two were a really good combination. They were like thunder and lightning. And then when they tried to make Pollard the guy, it just didn't work out because it's not built that way.
No, he's like a
I
he's in that Kamara.
Yeah.
What's that dude from Gibbs type running back?
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah. He's something else too.
Like Austin Eckler
Jahmyr
when he
Gibbs
was in his
beast.
prime.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Eckler was a beast. Yeah, he did everything. Yeah, workhorse.
But I feel like we did the first take thing where the Cowboys just hijacked the podcast even though they're not in the playoffs. Let's get back to the Bucks and the Commanders. but who you guys got for that game?
Well, man, I say Commanders.
Wow, okay.
I say the Commanders too.
Really?
I feel like the Commanders are the better balanced team. Yeah, the Bucks have a really good offense. Like listen, I love the Bucks' offense, but their defense is not good. Like
that's where I'm at too. I think it's going to be a high scoring.
Yeah.
But Jaden Daniels can get the ball last, and he's gonna go down and score. That's how I see it. Funny. A shootout kind of thing.
I'm going against the grain again. I think the Bucks are gonna win, but I do
Really?
agree. I think it's gonna be a close game. I can't believe 2 years ago I would not be saying what I'm about to say in this next sentence, but I'm basically back in Baker Mayfield here. I would have not said this 2 years ago, but man, I got to give him his props, man. He's
had a great year.
Great.
He had a great year. He's
been great, man.
And there's been a lot of injuries too. Like there's been guys coming in and out of the lineup.
For sure.
At one time, Evans was out for like 3-4 games, and he still balled, throwing it to a whole bunch of nobodies. Like, wow, Godwin got injured earlier in the season. Like they're not even at their full power, and Baker Mayfield still has like 40 touchdowns.
Yeah, he threw for 4,500 yards. Yeah, 4,500.
Like, damn, he played so good, man.
41.
He played so well this year.
16 picks, and then he was like 72% or something like that, like completion percentage. Like I'm like yo, I can't even. I used to rip. I used to take my time ripping Baker Mayfield, but now I'm just like, yo, man, I got to give it to you, man. As much as I used to rip him, I'm like, I got to give you your props. Like he's been great. He's been great. And he's got the experience too. They got the playoff experience and the chops, and it's a home game. I find like the last couple of years, anytime they're at home, they play well in the playoffs. I think Washington. I mean, it's going to be a great game. That's going to be a great Sunday night game. Washington is. They're kind of playing with house money at this point.
No, they are. That's the thing.
They're playing with house money.
They're not supposed to be there.
They're way ahead of their development. So I think even if they lose, it's still a great year. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
again, them being in the playoffs alone that's a win.
Oh, it's huge.
And you found 100%. Your quarterback.
Yeah. I think they're set up to win for at least the next 10 years. My only issue with the Bucks is, like I said, their defense. I feel like their defense is just, oh my God, they're really like their defense has really declined over the past couple of years, and I feel like if there's an Achilles heel on that team, it's the defense.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And last but not least, we got the Vikings versus the Rams. Am I crazy enough to believe that the Rams can pull this off?
They definitely can pull this off.
Listen, after I watched Sam Darnold last week against Detroit, I think it's possible. I mean, I like the Vikings offense. I love their offense. Like they have 2 stud wide receivers. I feel like they have everything they need to win, but Sam Darnold, man, I don't know. He's had a really good year. That's one thing I can say. He had a really good year. But sometimes this guy just freezes, man, and I just don't know. I don't know. LA is a good team. They're both 2 really well coached teams. And I feel like their offenses are almost, I don't want to say they're the same, but they're very, very similar in the fact that they both have really good wide receivers. They really have good running backs, good O-lines, and they both have aging quarterbacks. So it's going to be an interesting battle. Like I don't know with this one, man.
No, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I lean towards the Rams, just because of that offense, and I spoke to them about them early in the year too. Like when you have Stafford and those receivers and that running back,
Yeah.
man, like, and that offensive mind, McVay,
Yeah.
they're going to be tough, man, for anybody. They can score on anybody, but like Darnold had a tough game. It was his first bad game of the season, and they lost. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they had dudes open. I mean,
he just wasn't pulling the trigger.
I hate the fact that they don't play football anymore and kick field goals and like,
yeah,
because at one point they would have been winning if they just kicked field goals.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Instead of going for it. I don't understand.
Analytics. Yep. That's where we are right now with that. But as a Niners fan, I'll tell you what, man. As a Niners fan, the Rams' future scares me. It makes me nervous at the very least. Because you got
it's a short future because Stafford's getting up there. How old is he?
Well, yeah, he's 30. He's 36, I think. He's 35, 36.
So he's got a lot to go still. He could play till 40 probably. Now that's what these guys are doing.
Yeah, well, I mean that's if he holds up because he's kind of injury prone himself, right?
He's getting older up. He's up there in age, so I mean, I think they need to start looking at a successor. I mean, they have Jimmy 100%. G. I think I saw Jimmy G playing last week.
He's not the successor.
He was.
That was a shock.
300 yards.
Yeah. I didn't even know he was still in the league, Carrie. Yeah. I did not know. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, who's this good-looking guy? I was shocked
when I remembered. Yeah, he's a backup. Yeah.
I completely forgot.
So he might be the succession unless he moves. I don't know what his contract is.
But I mean, with Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, like that might be one of the best. I wouldn't say it's the best wide receiving time in the league.
It's up there though. It's top five.
I was gonna say it's top five at worst.
It might be top three.
Yeah, actually it is top three. I'd only put Cincy and honestly maybe the Vikings ahead of them. Because Kupp may be the number 2 guy. Kupp may be the number 2 guy. I was gonna say Kupp may be the number 2 guy, but Kupp is still a problem.
No, he's a problem. But you can't leave out the Eagles here with
that's true.
AJ and Slim Reaper. Man.
That's true. That's true.
That's a problem too.
That's true.
Yeah.
So we'll top, but either way, and then you got Kyron Williams, who's been great all year. The defensive front four of the Rams is like they don't even need to blitz. Like that's how disruptive them guys are, and they're all on rookie contracts, which is even crazier. Yeah. All 4 of them are on rookie contracts. Like they're still like first and second year guys, and they're like literally tearing up everybody in front of them right now, tearing up all off.
I don't even know who the GM is for LA for the Rams. But whoever this guy is, he is phenomenal. Like he is great at finding talent.
They've done a great job for
sure. Oh my God, Puka Nacua, he was like a 4th round pick.
Yeah, McVay is a legit coach, man. He's one of the best coaches in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. He schemes people open.
Man, he does.
He's fantastic, and you could never no matter what you say about LA, they're always in contention. They're always, even when I thought they were going to drop off. I honestly thought they were going to drop off a few years ago, and all of a sudden it's like, who's this Puka Nacua guy that can barely pronounce his game, and this guy's balling out, and I was like, okay. And then the defense looked pretty good, even though Arnold was gone. I was like, wow. These guys it's like they just find new guys. They just bring in new
guys. Like they drafted. Thing was gone, retired, and then they drafted Colby Turner, and he's a stud.
It's crazy.
Jared Verse this year is beast. The D tackle from last year, for Breesy or no, not Breesy. No, there's another guy from this year, D tackle. I can't.
See if I can look him up. But like I said, they scare me. I think the Vikings should win. 14-3 means something, but at the same time, anything can happen when you're on the road, even as good as a regular season that you had. when in the playoffs, anything can happen when you're on the road, man. I mean, it's a dome team too, so they should be fine. I expect them to be fine against the Rams, but you just never know, man.
No, and the pressure's on Darnold, man.
Yeah,
show us who you are, right?
And he hasn't been there before.
Was last game just you having a bad game, and is he going to bounce back?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, this is. Do you know who's favored in this game?
I will look that up.
Yeah,
I will look that up.
I don't even know. I don't know. All I know is Darnold has so much pressure on him right now. He's got JJ McCarthy literally breathing down his back. Like this game coming up will most likely determine what's going to happen next year.
Yeah.
So I don't even know, man. Like if he has a good playoff run and he takes the Vikings deep into the playoffs, like what are you going to do? Are you going to release him and bring in the rookie?
No, I try to sign him to a reasonable contract.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
so I'm talking like
a couple of years, maybe.
3 years,
40
3 to
million.
4 years, 35 million, like nothing more than that, man.
I don't even know if I would even do 4 years. I think I would maybe do 2 to 3 because you have that rookie on over there, like you have McCarthy there, and if you think he's
but his contract is 4 years.
Yeah.
So at least you give yourself a little wiggle room if you want to when you want to eventually trade him.
Right.
He's locked into a contract. But I hear what you're saying. Like a 2-3 years contract. If it's over 40, like see you later, bye. Like you can't do that. Now, we have a kid here. But if you want to stay at a reasonable price, start with a good team for a couple years, eventually this kid's going to take over. I mean, if Darnold was smart, that's what he would do.
Yeah, like what Baker Mayfield did.
At this point, it's not about making money, man. You want to find a team where you could do your thing, man. And you have it. You have one of the best receivers in the league. You have synergy with the offensive coordinator, the head coach, offensive coordinator. Addison's young, too. Like, a good O-line, good defense. I don't know if they're going to lose the DC as a head coach. You never know, maybe. But
maybe, yeah. I agree. I don't think he's going to be able to find a better set of wide receivers or a better offense out there.
No.
But if he wants to make his money and go to the highest bidder, then see you later. Then I have the rookie here, but I think they should at least try to sign this guy, man. He won 14 games in NFL.
I know.
That's huge.
Yeah. It's not easy to do.
I guess it does matter what he does. If he comes in here and lays another egg, then we got a problem, I guess.
Yeah.
But if he plays well,
I was gonna say at the very least.
What if he plays well and you lose? What happens if he plays well but you lose?
He's gonna get paid.
I think either way, he's probably gonna get paid regardless. Yeah, it's just a question of whether he's gonna be on the team or not. I think that's what the question is gonna be. I could see him going to another team. I could see him going to the Seahawks. I could see him going to another team that probably needs a quarterback.
Seahawks? You think they're gonna get rid of things?
I think they're gonna get out. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I don't hate Geno. But I just don't feel like he's the guy that's gonna be taking them deep into the playoffs or taking to the playoffs. Period. I feel like next year they're probably gonna get rid of DK Metcalf, and I think that what's his name, Najigma.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce this guy's name. Yeah, I feel like he's going to be the number one guy there. And I think they're probably going to start looking for a quarterback at some point. So,
they definitely need to be looking for a quarterback. But I thought Geno was pretty good. Yeah. I mean, he did throw a couple. He did throw some picks this year, but a lot of those picks were not. Okay, I won't say a lot. A few of those picks were not his fault, but. I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know.
He got his incentives. He could say that. He got an extra $6 million.
He did.
He did.
So I mean, that's a good thing. Like I think him and Darnold. I think I was saying earlier. I think they should get on that Baker Mayfield contract where it's about $30 million. It's team friendly. You know what I mean? And you can still
that's what it is, man. Go to the best situation for you to grow with this team.
Because when Baker went to Tampa Bay, that was basically like a lifeline. You know what I mean? Because his career was basically on the rocks before he got to Tampa Bay, and then he worked his way back to where he's at now. And I think Darnold is kind of in that same boat. Like, he was basically about to be a career backup.
Yeah,
he was. I agree.
He was.
And Geno Smith was a career backup. You know what I mean? But until he got with Seattle.
I feel like Baker Mayfield, like his year before that, if you guys remember, he was actually with the Rams, and it was when Stafford got hurt. He stepped in and he played really, really well. That's the whole reason why he got signed with the Bucs in the first place.
Yeah,
just based off of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, right now he's rolling. Baker Mayfield is. I never thought I'd be saying this neither, because I always thought Baker Mayfield was a little overrated,
and cocky.
I don't know, because I think the cockiness is what turned me off. Even though, like, he was pretty good with the Browns. Like, he came to the Browns and they won some games. They went to the playoffs.
He set the record at the time for passing touchdowns for a rookie. Yeah. I thought he was good. He was super accurate in college, and to me, if you're accurate in college, you're gonna be accurate in the NFL.
100%. 100%. And then the Browns let him go, which kind of shocked me. It surprised me, because they've been trying to find a quarterback ever since. Right?
But he went through 3 different offensive coordinators in 3 years, and he had a bad quarterback with that. I'm sorry, you can't. With
every season schemes change.
Dude, man, that's crazy, man. The playbook, to know it by heart, and to evolve on it and put your own little touch on it, it takes more than just a year, man. Your first year, you're just regurgitating what you're told to do.
Exactly. And these playbooks are they're like phone books, man.
Yeah, man. That's crazy.
There's
the verbiage,
5-10 variations. Yeah, there's multiple variations for each play. Variations based off of what the defense is doing. Audibles, being an NFL quarterback is fucking hard. You have to be you have to have quite a memory to be able to do that.
Yeah, you do, man. You do.
Some of these plays, man, especially when you get into a McVay offense or a Shanahan offense,
crazy. Yeah.
Verbiage is insane. The verbiage is insane, and these offenses are built on details. It's attention to details. What to do in this scenario, what to do in that scenario. There's different variations for every play and every alignment, every defensive alignment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard, man. It's really hard.
No, I agree. I agree with all sentiments. Last thing before we wrap up is, I guess quickly, your very early Super Bowl. The playoffs haven't started yet, but what's your early Super Bowl predictions? At least the 2 teams that are going to get. You don't have to predict the winner, but just the 2 teams that are going to represent each conference. Who do you guys got?
I got Eagles, Buffalo.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. I like Detroit and Baltimore.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah. I like Detroit, man.
I like, and we can elaborate on it more later, but I like Detroit, and until I see them lose.
Don't say it. Chiefs. Don't say it. You're putting it into existence, Kelsey. Don't do this shit, man.
Yeah, don't say it.
We're all thinking it. Don't say it.
You can't take the 3P, Calvin.
I'm just being honest, man. Just hey, man.
Oh my God.
They know how to win. I've been saying it all year. They know how to win in every situation. I'm not going to say the team's name. You all know who I'm talking about. And then the funny thing is they rest their stars, and normally you rest your star for 3 weeks. That's usually a recipe for disaster. But because these guys have been going deep in the playoffs for every year, this is actually a blessing for them.
No, this is more time for Andy Reid to scheme up craziness. It's actually scarier, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And
they're healthy at the right time. It's
My God,
scary.
if Mahomes repeats, they're gonna rename the Lombardi Trophy after this guy. I'm telling you, man.
No, that's a dynasty right there, man.
They're already a dynasty, but three-peat?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we'll never hear the end of that shit.
And it's never been done. It's never been done in NFL history. It's never been done. So like it's at least not in the Super Bowl era. It's never been done. So that I'm 50-50 because I'm kind of rooting for history, but then I'm also kind of like if they lose, I'm okay with it too. Like I want to see Baltimore make it, man. I really do.
I do.
I really do. I want to see Baltimore make it. Like it's time for Lamar Jackson to get that trophy too. Like I'm rooting for him too. But like I said, man, until I see it happen with my own eyes, man, and it's early, so.
And you know what? I'm Detroit. Every year I watch Detroit. Is there a city that is more deserving of a Super Bowl win than Detroit? No. I feel like every single I don't think they've ever won a Super Bowl. Detroit's never won a Super Bowl.
I don't know about that, man. I would argue that Buffalo probably is the one program that needs the Super Bowl the most. After going to 4 straight and losing?
True. That was brutal. I remember that in the 90s. Oh my God. I
4 straight
remember
or 3
that.
straight?
4. I think it was 3 straight.
No, it was 4. It was 4 straight.
It was 3 to the Cowboys and 1 to
the New York Giants.
One was to the Giants. One was to the Redskins. Giants. One was the Redskins, and then 2.
And 2 were
2 Cowboys. That's what it was.
But it was 4 in a row. It was 4 in a row.
Thurman Thomas.
Yeah, man. I love that team.
Reed. Oh my God, they were such a good team. That was brutal.
James Lofton. That team was tough, man.
Yeah.
Cornelius Bennett on
Cornelius Bennett and Bruce Smith. Wow.
Yeah, that was a great team, man.
The Lions have never. So the Lions is one of 4 total teams that have never made it to the Super Bowl, along with the Browns, the Jaguars, and the Texans. Never made it. Never reached the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Never reached. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And the Jaguars and Texans. Remember, these were teams that weren't around. Teams. Yeah, they're expansion teams that only popped up 12, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So I mean,
and they made it to conference finals at least. Those 2 teams, or at least the Jaguars have. The Jaguars have for sure.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Listen, I wouldn't. If Buffalo made it, I wouldn't be angry at Buffalo neither. I would like Buffalo to win a championship. I would like them. Bills Mafia, I feel like they deserve it too, but I also feel like Detroit. Like, I feel for Detroit, man. How many
man.
Detroit fans have suffered. They have so suffered. They finally have a good team. Finally have.
Their offense is explosive, man. They could do it all.
Yeah, they could do it all, man. And the defense looked really, really good last week too.
Plays,
so I mean,
all the trick plays they do is just.
Ben Johnson, man, my God, this guy is a wizard.
No,
These plays that this guy schemes up.
Who can run the hook and ladder multiple times in a season and score?
I know, it's crazy.
Hook and ladder.
It's insane. Who does
it's
that
a play
anymore?
for them. It's not a trick. That's a play.
I know. Oh my God! Did you see the play last week where Goff goes and pretends like he trips and falls along with Gibbs, and he gets back up and throws the touchdown to Laporta?
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God, where are these guys coming up with this shit? Crazy.
That dude's just baking up stuff in the lab, man.
I'm telling you, man, he's another Andy Reid. Like, he just puts things together, and it's the details. Like, it's the pulling of the online, man.
He's got some ballers on that team, though.
They do. They drafted really well. Like, Jahmyr Gibbs and Laporta in the same draft.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And the stars are aligning too, because look, they're talking about Montgomery coming back for the next game.
Divisional,
which is insane.
Yeah, they got the first round bye.
Yeah, which is insane, but he may be back already. So, these football players, man, y'all are crazy, man.
Shoot me up, Doc.
Yo,
the playoffs are coming up.
Just wrap it up.
Wrap up that broken ankle.
Yep.
Throw some Robitussin on there and
put Robitussin on that thing. Some Tiger Balm. Don't worry, we good.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Tape it up real tight. It together.
Yeah, man. No doubt. All
right, fellas. Yeah. So we'll wrap it up for this week. We'll be back at this next week, and breaking down for the wild card weekend, and then breaking down the next week's matchups and taking it from there, man. This is week to week now because the playoffs are here. And
let's go.
Definitely looking
Christmas
forward to
time.
It. Yes.
Christmas time all over again. 3 days of football? Oh my God.
It's a long
These past weeks I've been in my glory, like Saturday and Sunday.
Directly in the veins.
Oh, just give it to me, man. Give it to me. Give me all of it. I'm all for it.
My man said, put it in my veins. That is. I feel like Raji should take Monday off. Thank you for checking out the latest edition of the Ave Podcast, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in, especially if you're an NFL fan. Special shout out to Carrie Joseph and Roger Calendar for hopping on this episode and talking all things football and playoff first round football on this Saturday edition. We'll be back next week for sure because this is going to be a weekly thing until the Super Bowl and the post-game show. So stay tuned for all of that. There will be an episode on, I would say on Tuesday. With regards to, because we're getting back into the swing of things. We have we dove deep into not with the same guest, of course, but we dove deep into a very heavy centric basketball podcast that was very necessary, especially after that Cavs and Thunders game. So look out for that one on Tuesday. So look out for that one, and then we'll be back every Friday with a preview of the NFL playoff games right up until the Super Bowl and the post-game show. All right, so look out for all of that. Like I said, thank you once again for the support. Make sure you check out the Ave Podcast on SouthShoreAve.com. Once again, that is SouthShoreAve.com. Hit the like and subscribe buttons. Click on those 5 stars, and make sure you check out the catalog once again at SouthShoreAve.com. All right, for Roger Calendar and Carrie Joseph, this is Cal C, and you just tuned into the latest episode and the first episode of the year of the Ave Podcast on South Shore Ave Radio. All right, until next week, peace. We out. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.